Mitch offers Nancy some skinny dipping and some skinny bills, but all Nancy wants to do is chase around her postman. Ugh. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Afternoons LA. I hope you're great and safe. This is our 2-hour programming block that starts with a check and then goes to hazard pay, then FPUC, and then rent assistance. Great news and exciting news about the check. I'll begin right to the minutes from now. But coming up next on hazard pay, shocking new developments about Uber and Lyft in California leaving the state. But they won an emergency order minutes ago. I'll be having that details as well. FPUC and PUA states are not going to be paying FLWA as quickly as you thought. I did not see this one coming. And then rent eviction moratoriums. A new eviction moratorium has been issued, but doesn't protect you. Boy, we have a lot of great stuff today. Let me get right to the check. A great new report issued minutes ago confirms this channel's reporting for over 3 weeks. There is a deal on the check. There is a deal on the check. CNBC reports minutes ago. While there is hope for a $1,200 check, there's something else going on. The good news, this is actually the way the report is written. I'm not adding the word good news in there. The good news, both political parties have said they want to send Americans more stimulus checks. And there's good news because they agree upon $1,200. Wow. Here's the recap. The Republicans and the Democrats agree upon a second stimulus check. Great news. They agree upon eligibility. Everyone's getting a check, unlike the first CARES Act, where adult dependents who are 18 years of older were not getting a check. So a lot of the viewers of this channel who are on SSDI, SSI, Social Security, and railroad benefits did not get a first check because they were 18 years or older and were dependent on someone else's tax return. The great news is that this time around, the Republicans and Democrats agree you're getting a check. Wow. The other great news is that there's agreement upon the check for non-dependents. So if you're a single individual, $1,200. Married couple, $2,400. They agree upon that. There's no dispute about that. Also really great. There's also great news that the check would be delivered in the quickest manner possible. So if you're on SSDI, SSI, Social Security, and railroad benefits, it would come to you by the same manner in which you normally receive your benefits. So if you receive them by direct deposit, it would come that way, and paper check, it would come that way. And if you're not on benefits, then the IRS would route it to you in the fastest way they can based upon prior tax returns if they have a bank account on file or you've provided a bank account previously. So really great news. The only issue of contention that doesn't seem to be a deal breaker is the amount of the dependents. The Democrats, $1,200. Republicans propose $500. It doesn't appear to be a deal breaker. And then the other issue is child support. Democrats saying not to take out for child support. Republicans saying to take out for child support. So this news report out of CNBC sounded like someone had watched this channel. While the good news is both political parties have said they want to send Americans more direct payments, stimulus checks. The bad news is they can't agree upon when to do it. Congress needs to agree upon the next stimulus package in order for the money to come out. So it's basically saying what I've been saying for a while, which is that this check is part of a stimulus package. And over the last couple of days, we've heard a lot of chatter, but not a lot of action, as to how to extract the check from the package. Mark Meadows, who's doing his own version of the Cupid shuffle, to the left, to the left, to the right, he's changing a little bit less than he was in recent months, is now on pace for the same statement now 3 times in a row, which is just incredibly great news. He's consistent. He says checks need to go out this week. I'm ready to send out the checks this week. President's on board to send out the checks this week. Let's get the checks to go out this week. So why aren't the checks going out? Well, he blames Nancy. He says Nancy needs to do a standalone bill with me. We'll just do a bill with the checks and then we'll go out. Now, here is that crazy guy with the hot sauce and the fried chicken, Mitch McConnell, who made everyone go cray-cray in the last 48 hours. If you don't know what happened, there was no skinny Republican bill. Bubba, my 2001 one subscriber to this channel hit me up earlier. He said, whatever happened to that skinny Republican bill, LALATE? I heard it's law, and I heard I'm not getting a stimulus check. No, the Republican bill is not the Republican proposed bill or gossip of a Republican stimulus skinny bill never manifested itself. Did I not say this isn't going to happen? If you don't recall, earlier this week there was chatter and actually very bad news reports that said that there was a Republican skinny bill that was introduced that did not call for second stimulus checks. Okay, it caused Bubba and a lot of other viewers really confused. One, there is no bill. Two, it has never been introduced. Three, the source of the story was MITCH'S aides leaking stuff, which they've done before, and I'm a little tired about it. And five, it never showed up. So don't believe any more of this gossip of stuff that never manifests itself. Now, what's also really great news is that since that gossip, Mark Meadows has said, hey, $1,200 stimulus checks this week. I'm ready to send them out. I got the checkbook here. And even though it's not really his checkbook. And then Larry Kudlow, when his calculator wasn't breaking, appeared today and said, we're ready to send out some stimulus checks. Larry, what's 1,200 plus 0? So that's the great news. So will Nancy agree upon a standalone bill? Well, the report also said there is still, this is actually the title of the report. This is not buried in a footnote. It's, it's not so hidden that you have to like look for it. It's like, I'm looking for Mitch McConnell's popularity in this article. No, this is actually the title of the article. It says, while there's hope for a $1,200 second stimulus check, it's stalled due to congressional talks, which is very well said. It says the big question is how soon could that happen? That's like the version of someone getting into the CNBC article saying, get to the point, CNBC. Congress has to a September 30th deadline to come up with a budget for the next fiscal year. Now, this is a big date. I don't want to bring up this date because it scares people, but ultimately it's a date to solve the budget, to balance the budget. And yeah, I'll tell you the reality. If you don't balance the budget, the government shuts down. So it's like, everything else is just sort of a blow. Let's just add that into the mix. But that's what September 30th is. House Democrats are working on new legislation to provide support to the U.S. Postal Service, which, not Mitch, but which some hope could reopen stimulus talks. I was the first to report this. I said this over a week ago. I said the minute that Nancy ordered all of her flock of sheep back in town to chase the postman on this coming Sunday after they're finished having their 20-course meal at the Democratic Convention on our tax dollars and staying in a luxurious hotel while we don't have eviction moratoriums. They're flying back this Sunday, probably on a private jet, watching Martin Sheen play president or something like that in some movie. And they're landing on Sunday, and then they're doing Caroline Maloney's single-page bill about the postman this Sunday. Well, it's only a single page, so we have so much more time to talk about stimulus, don't we, Nancy? I mean, what else are we going to do? Are you going to teach Mark Meadows some dance moves? Are we going to teach Mark Meadows, We're going to explain to Larry Kudlow why Mary J. Blige last night was chosen and why 24/8 is not a mathematical mistake. Nancy's going to have all this extra time come this Sunday and Monday when Congress is back in session. They're not just in session to talk about the postman. They're there to do things that we pay them to do. And it should be, and it will likely be, to talk about your check. Now, next issue going awry right today is a new report saying that American savings are dwindling. Households with below than $50,000 annual savings now say they're like diluted and disappearing on their face. But then the big number, which I started today with, and now I have the reaction minutes ago, is the unemployment number. Boy, if you didn't watch Morning's LALATE, I dropped it that morning. And let me tell you what happened, why it's so significant, and why it could get your stimulus checks ASAP. I've always reported that Republicans want to make an excuse not to give you stimulus. It may not be for purposes of stimulus checks, but it's generally as to stimulus. We heard this as early as May. Mitch saying, the economy's great, the economy's great. I go out and play backgammon every night with my 4 drunk buddies. I absolutely know what's going on with the economy. And then there's Larry Kudlow, who is like the epitome of rose-colored glasses, who says, it's even people are parodying him now. He always talks about LV. We're already rebounded. We're pre-pandemic. We're basically Nirvana now, under Larry Kudlow's insane analysis. No. And I've always said that as soon as slightly good data comes out, the Republicans are going to just like slobber it up like a hungry person at a soup plantation hometown buffet smorgasbord. But these Republicans aren't happy today, nor is anyone else, as new jobless claims were released, and they're horrible. They're horrible. Unemployment numbers before the pandemic was 200,000 per week. That means that new jobless claims, people who newly started unemployment that week before the pandemic, was 200,000. Really, it was a good number. It was one of the lowest numbers of U.S. history at the time. As soon as the pandemic hit, the next week it went from 200,000 jobless claims to 1 million jobless claims the first week of the pandemic. And every single week since then, with the exception of last week, it was over 1 million. How bad is that? It was 20-something weeks of 1 million claims or more. These are new claims per week. And we had never seen this since the Great Depression of the 1920s. Now, last week, the number dropped and improved, fell under 1 million to 900,000. Now, the Republicans that do really bad math, aka Larry Kudlow, said, "Hey, celebration, it's a Kool in the Gang song. Let's do it. It's Larry. It just dropped by 100,000. Oh, I don't do math that well, but it looks really good. The number. No, Larry, it's only 900,000. Well, today the number hit. And most analysts, and this is what's so important, most analysts thought the number was actually going to be better. They thought it was going to be low 900,000. It came in at 1.1 million. It absolutely shot through the roof. Now, why is this so important and so beneficial to your stimulus checks? Because it now shows that whatever stimulus was provided in the first stimulus round, its impact in enhancing, stimulating, providing relief, spurring on the economy is now gone. It's time for stimulus right now. All these reporters came out and just said, hey, what is going on? I reported earlier today that the Federal Reserve said, hey, you need stimulus right now. There is nothing pushing this economy going forward. We're over the financial cliff, but all the benefits of the first stimulus package are gone. And Jim Cramer from CNBC said, hey, right now we're beginning to realize the pandemic has recessionary impact. We haven't thought we were through the course. 70% of the people who are getting the extra 600, they're now hoping for the 400. They probably won't get that as well. Ron Temple, managing director of Lazard Asset Management. When the market looks for another reason for the next leg up, you would think of what's going to the fiscal side. So I think the market really has fumbled the ball since the end of July. I think people will focus on the headline, 1.1 million. But what I immediately turn to is seeing how many people are relying on unemployment right now, and it's 28 million. The bottom line is that when we talk about your stimulus check, and we talk about the agreement to get you the stimulus check, that's the great news. That's the great news, that everyone wants to give you the stimulus check. The bad news is that we don't see the path to get it sent out as we sit here on a Wednesday? On a Thursday afternoon. We don't see the path as we sit here on a Thursday afternoon. Because what's going on here? We don't see the 4 negotiators talking. Nancy, Steve Mnuchin, Mark Meadows, and Chuck Schumer. They're just not talking. Chuck Schumer, I blasted yesterday. He is literally spending every waking breath talking about the postman. Nancy's chasing the postman. The Democrats are chasing the postman. How about sending out our checks? Well, where America's going, children are going hungry. Nancy says, that's her statement. Children are going hungry. Nancy, America's going hungry. Well, children are going hungry, and I'm not going to allow the postman to rig the election. Nancy, here's a reality check for you, Nancy. People don't really care about the election if they're homeless. If they don't have a home, they don't have food, they don't have a car, do you think that going to a polling place is their top priority when they can't figure out how to put food on the table? Do you think that they're worried about mail-in ballots when they don't have a home that's receiving the mail? Hello? It's that type of discourse that's really pissing off viewers because they don't understand where the focus is. Now, I got to tell you, the good news is not great, but the good news is that there are Democrats who have their head screwed on correctly. They have told Nancy, this is insane. You need to do a standalone stimulus check bill right now. They've told her that, and they said, let's do it starting this Sunday. They've indicated to her that. And ironically, a lot of them are California. Yes, they're California representatives. Now, the ironic situation about this, and this is really great news, is that the Democrats want to do a standalone bill, and the Democrats control the Senate. So if the Democrats want to do a standalone bill for the check, all you got to do is just get enough if the Republicans want to do a standalone bill in the Senate, the Republicans want to do a standalone bill in the Senate, you only need to get a certain number of Democrats in the House, where they control, to approve it as well. I think that there is a problem of people making the first move, and that is really what's at issue here. What's going on is that, and I had that in another report today, is that there appears to be an issue about people not wanting to look like they lost. And that was detailed in this report, but I didn't pull the quote. There's a new suggestion that Republicans and Democrats want to look like they won on stimulus when no one's winning right now. And so Nancy apparently doesn't want to just do something so easy as send out a check, which she could do by a standalone bill because the entire Senate apparently wants it now, and she's holding it up in the House. She doesn't want to do it because it looks like a loss. Ultimately, if the movement of this channel increases, if you continue to tag Nancy and tag Steve and tag Mark and tag, broadcast news channel and broadcast anchors like, Don Lemon and Chris Cuomo, say, what's going on? Why aren't you doing a standalone stimulus check deal? Because we could literally have the checks out in 3 days. If you're new to this channel, let me recap how quickly you can get a stimulus check if people literally wake up today. If there was a standalone bill introduced today in the House, it could be voted by the House this Sunday when they're back in session. The Senate could approve it on Monday. Mitch would order them back in town, this week, tell them get ready for Monday. The president would sign it on Tuesday. Okay, what day is that? That's like the 23rd of August. Well, add 10 days to that. That's when you will get your check. It's not today, but it's about 11, 12 days from now. Hello? For those of you who wonder, they're not in session. Fox News told me that. Sorry if you didn't watch Mornings LLA today. I talked about how there actually was a 64-something bills or something like that introduced to the House yesterday. So people are introducing bills all the time. They're just not introducing a bill for your check. Isn't that convenient? Now, over in the Senate, they're doing much the same. So there is an order in place that Nancy and Mitch are to bring their flock of sheep back in town as soon as there's agreement for the checks, which there would, and that even if there was an agreement from Nancy and Mitch, that the president, which he also would, order them back in session to vote on the bill. But no one's written the bill because they've ran out of crayons. Oh boy, it's people always ask me, what do you think we're going to get the check? Yes, you're going to get the check. How soon do you think I'm going to get a check, LLA? Are we going to get the check today? No, you're not getting the check today. When would they vote upon the check, LLA? And as I sit here today, I want to make it very clear to you. When we talk about the stimulus check, this is not like talking about when are we expecting a duet between Katy Perry and Mariah Carey. This is literally something that's happening. This is, when is Michelle when is Michelle and all three of them going back on tour as Destiny's Child? Sorry, I just don't see that happening. Bet your stimulus checks, yes. Happening today, no. Happening tomorrow, no. Waiting all the way till after the election. Okay, you want to give me a hard question? No, I really don't see that happening either. So, as we sit here today, if you do the math, it's highly unlikely to literally get the check physically in your hand. In this month of August, because where we are in the month of August, I mean, we're on the 20th day today. I'm adding 10 days. They would have to vote 3 days. So you can't get the check in the month of August. Will you get the check in the month of September? I believe you will. Unless something totally crazy goes on, like there's 20 new scandals, Nancy finds 15 more things to investigate, Chuck Schumer has 20 more investigative scandalous hearings, which ironically is actually probably pretty possible with this group of people. It literally is this screwy. But so, bottom line, to be very serious, is you are going to get your check. I just want to make very clear to you that if you need to make a bill this week, you're not getting the check this week. It's just not happening. I also want to make very clear to you that the false information about your check out there is just a hot mess express unto itself. I mean, Bubba just contacted me every few minutes. Bubba contacted me just this afternoon. He's like, LA, I saw Morning to LA, but I'm certain, this is Bubba talking, I'm certain there's a Fed stimulus check for $2,000. I heard it somewhere, and it's coming tomorrow. No, Bubba. What you heard is a lie. That was false reporting in the last 24 hours. A $2,000 Fed stimulus Fed card. I can't even say it with a straight face. It sounds so crazy. What it is in May, Kamala Harris, Bernie Sanders, and a few other people introduced that bill, which apparently is still a bill. I mean, it hasn't been voted on. $2,000 check every month for 6 months until the pandemic improves. The money would land in a Fed card underwritten by the Federal Reserve. So someone took an old story and said it's brand new. I wonder who did that. Then there was the false reporting of the skinny bill. False reporting that there's a Democratic skinny bill that's actually now a law. Bubba went absolutely crazy about that. I heard there's a law from the skinny bill, and I just haven't started Weight Watchers yet. No, Bubba, calm it down. He's like, then I heard there's one from the Democrats. There's another skinny bill for that. I hate keto. What is keto? I'm like, Bubba, you can do as much keto as you want, but that's not in the skinny bill, and there is no skinny bill from the Democrats. And so then he asked me, why is it called skinny as well? I need a Tic Tac for all this. Anyway, coming up after this is hazard pay, and then FPUC. Finally, rent assistance. Go to the front of this channel, hit that subscribe and like button. A lot of love. Thank you for helping us reach 200,000 subscribers overnight. Thank you for the kind comments. I haven't been able to respond to a lot of you, so I am sorry. So sorry, and I'll try my best going forward. Coming up next is hazard pay. As always, be informed, be smart, be educated. Don't listen to Bubba. Practice the Cupid Shuffle move in case Mark Meadows comes calling, and stay with LA for more.